during the month of May in 2024. The City of Columbia adopted its first bike and pedestrian plan on June 2nd, 2015, known as the Walk Bike Columbia, and this plan has been a goal of creating great places for bicycling with a focus on evaluation and planning, education, encouragement, engineering, enforcement, education of bicyclists and motorists as to the proper safety operation of a bicycle to ensure the safety and comfort of all users. So therefore, I, Daniel, recommend the Mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, along with fellow City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as National Bike Month and Bicycle Safety Month. May 5th is 2024 is National Ride a Bike Day, and the week of May 13th through 19th as Bike to Work Week, and then Bike to Work Day will be May 17th. So you got a lot of options to bike to work, and we look forward to that. But also, I hope in the future, we've talked about this as a group, is hopefully having some days where we can shut down some streets and have some free zone where it could be skating, biking, or whatever. A lot of cities are going back to that just to bring the community together, so hopefully we can do that. Lucinda, you going to accept this on behalf of BPAC?
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words about your events?
Just a few, yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of Council. Thank you for your support of Bike Month and of the cycling community in Columbia, which isn't just the strong and fearless who will ride anywhere, anytime. As we continue to provide safe and connected facilities for vulnerable road users, we grow the cycling community to include a much greater swath of Columbians, those from ages 8 to 80 who want or need active transportation choices, whether to help reduce greenhouse gases, to increase fitness, or because car ownership is just too expensive. This year we have a couple of things to highlight as we celebrate. This time last year we were up here celebrating the bidding of Calhoun Street Bike Lane. Now we can actually celebrate the installation because it was completed in February, so hopefully you've all seen that on the ground. We're also excited to share that we're working with the Federal Highway Administration on a grant agreement for a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that was awarded last fall. The purpose of the grant is to create an action plan for road safety measures, which will in turn make the city eligible for implementation funding of qualifying projects. So stay tuned for a kickoff for that planning process later this year. And then finally, I'd like to direct your attention to this year's Bike Month poster, which you all should have a copy of, beautifully put together each year by Lee in our office. And I encourage everyone to participate in some of the activities the mayor mentioned. And next Friday is Bike to Work Day, and then the following Sunday, the 19th, is the Preservation Bike Ride, which is also hosted by our preservation folks. So thank you again.
Thank you. We got 27 more presentations, and then we'll get to the meeting.
A lot of presentations.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Kristen, you got the whole thing here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just stand right there.
Well, Mayor, a few of those planning team members will be right back up. This is now the National Historic Preservation Month proclamation. The Honorable Daniel J. Rickman, Mayor, and the 2024 Mabel Payne Historic Preservation Award, Ms. Amy Moore, our Principal Planner in Planning and Development Services Department, will assist with the presentation.
May is a happening month here in Columbia. So whereas May is declared as National Preservation Month, it has since 1973, and so again in 2024, City of Columbia adopted its first preservation ordinance in 1963, created its first historic district in 1964. Historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, ethnic backgrounds. Historic preservation has been established in cities across the nation as an effective tool for economic and sustainability development, tourism promotion, community revitalization, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. It is important to celebrate the role of our history in our lives and our contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that we have shaped as a people. Historic preservation is a key protecting the unique character and vitality of Columbia, South Carolina. So I here, as the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, Daniel Rickerman, along with my fellow council members, do proclaim the month of May 2024 as National Preservation Month. And it's really timely because we've been having a lot of discussions about what a key role Columbia has played in history, from the beginning of our birth as a nation all the way through the civil rights, where Columbia has not seen a lot of the recognition that it should for its role across the U.S. history. And so one of the things that we're going to be concentrating with as a council, along with Dr. Donaldson and others, is really preserving our history here and showcasing it, making it part of our tourism, making people come here and really see what happened in Columbia and why it was so important and why it's going to be more important in the future. So with that, I'd like to, Amy Moore, you want to come up and say if you got a long 8x17 as well to share with us?
I do. Let's see. Well, happy Preservation Month, everybody. So we've got a full calendar. Please feel free to participate in any of our events that we have going on. We have hands-on workshops, lunch and learns for our property owners and neighborhoods. We have bike rides, which are exploring the Green Book sites in Columbia, a very relevant and pertinent topic. And many other activities. And with the assistance of Historic Columbia, we're also rolling out information on the recently completed economic impact study, which explores the ways in which historic resources benefit our community. So, all that being said, each year as part of Preservation Month, we at the city give out the Mabel Payne Award. And the Mabel Payne was a city employee whose work in the 1950s documenting and preserving historic structures laid the foundation for the preservation of so much of what we enjoy today. Our award winners may or may not be well-known locally. They may work behind the scenes or they may be front and center, but no matter what, their work and their example has had a significant impact on Columbia through their outstanding efforts in education, leadership, conservation, or stewardship of the city's historic resources. This year, I'm very pleased to announce that our award recipient for conservation and stewardship is Todd Avant of Avant Holdings. Todd's quiet but committed work to several historic buildings in Columbia shows that while he may have real estate in his blood, he also has a deep appreciation of historic buildings in his bones. From the start, working with him on the Dupree Building at 807 Gervais Street, I could see he had a real understanding of old buildings. He has an appreciation for their details, and he also has an intent to maintain that character. With 807 Gervais, those huge windows were a big undertaking. But as with everything, Todd perseveres. And I'm telling you right now, he's embarrassed to be sitting here hearing all of this. His ethic around historic buildings holds true. From his 1932 National Biscuit Company warehouse, which is on Lady Street, it's Nabisco. It's now an office building, to the historic 1840s Maxie Gregg House, most recently to the old Laundry Building in the Bull Street District. These rehabilitated buildings have benefited from Todd's unfailing deliberation and attention to each point of a rehabilitation. He cares about whether he's got the right approach, he cares about whether he's got the right materials, he cares about whether he's got the right people for the job. I am here to tell you that his attention to detail and follow-through is exceptional. And along those lines, there are a lot of conversations that we have on projects. The Laundry Building is a great example. We've discussed everything from the clear story to the metal roof profiles to the creative reuse of industrial-sized washing machines that weigh at least 1,000 pounds each. So it runs the gamut. But when he's finished, this mixed-use building and lovely treed outdoor space is going to be a jewel in the Bull Street district. The work is fun, it's fascinating, it can be hard. There are surprises when rehabilitating an old building, often interesting surprises, sometimes costly ones. You have to be creative and savvy when dealing with those, and I've seen Todd doing this many times over. He's got vision and perseverance, and I'm here to tell you that he is a joy to work with. We all want to see investment in Columbia, and Todd has demonstrated the best kind, a true personal investment in our city, making hard decisions and valuing quality work on his buildings. The end result is that we all benefit from his work, which significantly helps to make Columbia the unique and engaging place that it is. Please join me in recognizing Todd.
Thank you so much. Amy called me, I guess, a few weeks. I'm shocked, honored, thrilled, love working with Amy, her entire team. I know y'all got a full agenda, but very honored and thrilled, and thank you so much for the
Thank
recognition.
you. Keep coming.
Okay, next up, item number 4, the Economic Development Week proclamation, the Honorable Daniel J. Rickaman, Mayor.
The International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organization dedicated to serving economic developers. The International Economic Development Council provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services, and research, in-depth publications, public policy advocacy, and initiates such things as the Accredited Economic Development Organization Program, the Certified Economic Developers Designation, and the Entrepreneurship Development Professional. Economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating and retaining and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. Economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. The Columbia Empowerment Zone, the Commercial Economic Development Corporation for the City of Columbia, is celebrating its 16th year anniversary in celebration of Economic Development Week. The Empowerment Zone, the Commercial Economic Development Corporation for the City of Columbia, is celebrating its launch of business retrofit incentives through Energy Savings, Brights program, and an incentive program to ease the burden of energy costs on small business. This group and the board, I believe we have board members and the director. Do y'all mind standing and being recognized, please? Thank you for all your hard work. Russ, Reggie, and Felicia. Our Empowerment Zone has done some incredible projects if you look around the community, and continues to be that arm that is not afraid to try something and make that investment. And not only making an investment and working forward, but working across the city, not just in one area, across our whole city, which I think is so important. So with that, I, Daniel J. Rickaman, the Mayor of City of Columbia, and my fellow council members do proclaim May 6th through 10th 2024 as Economic Development Week and in honor of your 16th anniversary.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the podium first.
Well, I didn't really have anything to say other than,
That'll be a first now. Come on.
but thank you for recognizing Economic Development Week. And of course, we have a team of people at the city that participate in economic development. Some people don't even realize what they're doing is actually economic development. And I'd like to invite you to join us tomorrow for a press conference and another announcement about our Brights program at the historic Hoffman House on North Main, where we're having a re-grand open and ribbon cutting for two small businesses who recently moved in.
We'd also like to recognize the rest of our economic development team that is here. We have the folks from Ryan Coleman, Spencer Green, Grace Salters. Where's Miss Driggers and her OBO team? Come on, let's all stand up. Let's be recognized. Wave your hands, let everybody see you. We called out the empowerment zone because of their anniversary, but Felicia is exactly right. When you look across the city, we're all working together on economic development, but our professionals that we have, from our small business development to our economic development, our recruiters, our folks working on everything from real estate to making sure that you can get through the process and you have an opportunity to open your business, they're there for you. And we've opened more small businesses in the last several years, and it's so much fun to go to these openings because you're watching people's dreams. And we went to an opening the other day, a young woman, she started her first business when she was 16 years old. She's now in her early 20s and has her own business spot downtown on Main Street, serving people and excited about it, but she followed her dream, and that's what it's all about. Everything that we're trying to do at the City of Columbia to make it easier to do business, to be business friendly, to be part of the community, to enhance things, is so people can follow their dreams. Columbia is gonna be the land of opportunity. This is where you're going to want to start your business, raise your family, and stay here. And that's what we end up striving. So with that, I'd like to present to you, Felicia, and the rest of the economic development team, Ms. Driggers, Ryan, Spencer, everybody please join us. Pretty faces up front. You get everybody in here? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Item 5 is the Drinking Water Week proclamation. You're on a roll, Mayor. Honorable Mayor Daniel J. Rickaman, Mayor.
Well, obviously, drinking water, we're very fortunate in Columbia that we have such incredible drinking water, and that's because there are a lot of hard people that work every day to make sure that happens. It is our most valuable resource. Our tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, supports our economy, the quality of life that we enjoy here. And a measure for successful society is low mortality rates, economic growth, diversity, productivity, and public safety. Same way as we relate all of this to safe drinking water. We are all stewards for the water infrastructure upon the future generations depend on. And each citizen of our city is called upon to protect our sources of waters from pollution and to practice water conservation and get involved in local water issues by getting into knowing their own water. And as we continue to invest in the riverfront, it is also one of our sources that we protect. But every day, we have an incredible staff that works behind the scenes, and most people don't get to know them. They're working in our customer service. They're the ones out there at 2 a.m. in the morning fixing that water line so the next morning you can get up and take a shower. And some of those nights aren't exactly easy nights because it's cold and it's freezing out there. You got folks that are working at our treatment plant, making sure that quality is up to standards. That's why since 1835, I got that right? 1835? I always want to say 1835 or 1845, we've been providing incredible water here. I think we ought to have our own bottled water that says 1835 because there's so much history, but that's for another budget year. But we're really excited to designate this week as Drinking Water Week and know that our number one priority is to make sure that we protect our natural resource, but really protect our source as a community, which is our water system. And with that, Mr. Shealy, I'll turn it over to you.
Mayor, thank you so much, and council, thank you for giving us this opportunity, Ms. Wilson. We appreciate it. Mayor, you said it all. I don't really have anything to add other than I wanted to recognize our team and thank them personally in front of everyone for the great work that they do. And I'll start over here to my right with Tiffany Latimer, our Director of Customer Services. Mr. Corey Geralds is our Lake Murray Water Plant Superintendent. Mr. Jeremy Yates is our Field Operations Manager over our water distribution and wastewater collection, so he and his guys are out there at 2 a.m. We've got Trey Varn, who's our Drinking Water Operations Manager over both plants. We have Mr. Tyler Dillman, who last week accepted the position of Superintendent over our historic canal water treatment.
Hey, congratulations.
He's in from California, been with us a few years, but a really sharp operator. We got Mr. Ben Wilt, who's our Communications Manager for Columbia Water. And last but not least is our Drinking Water Compliance Manager, Dr. Alejandra Byers.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Y'all come up and get a picture. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Get everybody in?
Thanks, guys. Thank you,
Item number 6, the Senior Resources Older Americans Month. The Honorable Daniel J. Rickenman, Mayor.
Across the United States during the month of May, communities are celebrating and honoring older adults as valuable members of our community, bringing wisdom and richness to our society. In these communities, this year's theme, Powered by Connection, emphasizes the profound impact of meaningful interactions and social connection on the well-being and health of older adults in our community. In the city of Columbia and surrounding communities, Senior Resources, a vital nonprofit organization dedicated to enhancing the lives of older adults, plays a crucial role in empowering the connection of older adults. Senior Resources' unwavering commitment to the community exemplifies by serving over 4,000 older adults last year, including 171,607 meals in their homes, 12,534 group meals, 452 physical fitness sessions, and has provided nearly 102,425 miles of senior transportation. It's amazing, a lot of big numbers there. In 2024, Senior Resources re-energized the Lurie Center, thank you very much, underscoring the center's indispensable role as a central hub of connection for seniors within our community. So therefore, I, Daniel Rickman, the mayor of the city of Columbia, along with fellow city council members, proclaim May as Senior Resources Older Americas Month, and I do reflect that comment since I am a proud AARP member for the last 5 years. But seriously, where's Andrew? Andrew Boozer, come on down. Andrew, we can't thank you enough for what y'all continue to do, and having had the privilege to go a couple times on Meals on Wheels and seeing that interaction, but the excitement for me really was the revitalization of the Lurie Center, and it has been one of the most positive things that I've seen happen, because I'm hearing it from people. I walk in the street, I'm at the grocery store, oh, you got to come by, we got Spanish lessons, we got this, we got that, and super engaged, which I think is so important. So we really appreciate what you're doing in our community.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. The support that you are giving to Senior Resources is being felt by seniors in each one of your districts when we're delivering meals every day, or when they walk through the doors at the Lurie Center or at the Tillis Center, or any other great opportunities for us to reach out to seniors and impact lives. Our goal is to be the #1 city in the state for retirement, and so we are right there alongside you in wanting to see one of the fastest growing segments of our population, our retirees, our older adults, that they have the same opportunities to live independently, healthily, and with all the grace and dignity that they deserve. And with that, we are very thankful for all of your support and for this designation as we join cities and municipalities all around the country in declaring May Older Adult Month. And I also want to invite you, while I have you, the Lurie Center is having our summer open house, a luau, on May the 16th, so come by and see it. We're currently in the process of some renovations there in the lobby, so you can see the construction that's hard at work in trying to revitalize and re-energize that. And also, as you mentioned, Mayor, stop by and deliver a meal to one of our seniors and make their day. Deliver a warm meal and a smile to them, and you'll see the difference that you're making every day. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Item 7, the March Madness update. Mr. Bill Ellen, President and CEO of Experience Columbia SC, and Mr. Scott Powers, the Executive Director, Experience Columbia SC Sports. And I'm glad to see you, gentlemen. I know you've been trying to do this update for a minute. It's
Thank you.
past March Madness, but we still want to hear about it.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Okay.
Mayor Rickman and all members of City Council, thank you for your interest in and your support to help bring March Madness back to our city. For those in the room that may not fully understand the impact that March Madness can have on a community, it's the NCAA's Collegiate Basketball National Championship Tournament. We were fortunate enough to host the event, rounds 1 and 2 in 2019. At that time, it was the first time Columbia had hosted an NCAA basketball tournament in 49 years. So it was a big deal, had a huge community support, business support, leaders, and it was a big success. It created $11.9 million local economic impact for a 4-day event. People staying in hotels, eating in restaurants, shopping, visiting some of our other attractions. It was a great way to highlight our city. We sold more tickets than any tournament, sold almost 48,000 tickets to the tournaments, and we had the largest TV audience of all the NCAA round 1 and round 2 games. So it was a huge success. Then we submitted a bid for the next 4-year period, which was 2023 through 2026, the period that we're in now. We ran into some challenges, primarily had a major hotel that didn't participate and created some issues that we couldn't overcome. But we didn't get a bid during those years, and now we're in the next bid period, which is to host potentially for either 2027 or 2028. And we submitted a bid back in February, and Scott Powers is going to tell you more about that now. But I want to thank Mayor Rickenmann for his support. He called me up and said, Bill, how can I help? How can I get involved to help March Madness come back to Columbia? And shortly after that conversation, the NCAA hosted a championship symposium in Indianapolis, Indiana, where they're headquartered. And it was a symposium that featured all their national championships, just not basketball, but the dozens of other athletic championships that they offer. It was an opportunity to learn their requirements and policies and ask questions and get answers. And Mayor Rickenmann traveled with Scott and I to Indianapolis for that symposium. And in fact, at one point during the day, when Scott and I were walking and getting ready to walk into one of the meetings, and I looked down the hallway, Mayor Rickenmann had the head guy with the men's basketball championship, the director, cornered in the corner going at him one-on-one. So I think when we left, he knew that Columbia won. A lot of community pride when it was here in 2019. We got a lot of national exposure. When you watch TV, you saw Columbia, South Carolina on the court in the Colonial Life Arena on national TV. And our local residents, many of them attended the games, watched the games, participated in community events, and it's just a really positive event that lifts the city up. And we have submitted a bid to host, as I said, in either 2027 or 2028, and I think we're going to find out in October. But I want to thank the whole community and this council, and especially Mayor Rickenmann, for his support this go-around to try to bring him back. And I'm going to ask Scott Powers if he'll go into more detail about the bid process and where we are in that process.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you again for having us this afternoon. In years past, the NCAA has had a 4-year bid cycle, which was what we competed in years past. The new president started this year and wanted to move that to a 2-year bid cycle, so they're going to do it more often. We're waiting to see whether that is going to be a benefit or a hindrance to us as we get to go before the NCAA more and more. It gives us a chance to not wait 4 years in case we have something change in the community. Hotel may change, may be updated. We may have new builds. So I think the 2-year bid cycle moving forward from the NCAA is going to be a positive for us. As Bill mentioned, the bid was due February 7th. We are currently in the first round of Q&A back and forth with the NCAA. The NCAA sent us a spreadsheet with questions that they had about our bid, and we are in the process of answering those questions and sending it back to the NCAA. There could be at least 2 more rounds of those Q&As, and they just want to make sure, this is with their staff, and they want to make sure that every community can put together the most clear, concise bid so they can make an accurate decision when they're looking to where to host their events, their championships in the future. All they're looking for is, especially for men's basketball, because they know what the economic value is of hosting this event. They want the student athletes to have the best experience they possibly can. So we were very pleased to put together our bid on February 7th. We will find out all 89 championships across the NCAA for 2026, 27, and 27, 28 will be announced on October 2nd. So not far from now, we will find out, and we will have a year and a half or 2.5 years to prepare. And, some people may not be basketball fans or think why it's important, even outside the economic impact or the television audience. I think everybody with this council, and especially the mayor, knows about the big soccer match that we have coming up this August. It's because of hosting 2019 NCAA and the positive comments we received as a community. And I know you recognize the chief and the police department. That's the kind of things that keep Columbia at the top. We may fall short on a hotel here or two and may not have, those meeting spaces in the hotels, but they know security, they know everything is going to be run well, and we were very happy to be able to forward all that information to the NCAA when they make their decision. So we are very excited about that decision process, and we will keep you updated.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Bill, for being here and
Yes, sir.
sharing with us.
Thank you.
Madam City
Thank
Manager.
you. Yes, sir. Moving into our consent agenda, items 8 through 22 for your consideration, Mayor and Council.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any questions, concerns, changes? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Ordinance's first reading, item 23, ordinance number 2024-024, granting an encroachment to Silver Hills Development, Inc. for the use of the right-of-way areas of the 1200 block of Hughie Street and the 400 block of Washington Street for the installation and maintenance of sidewalks, on-street parking spaces, landscaping, and irrigation adjacent to 418 Washington Street in Richland County.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 24, ordinance number 2024-033, amending ordinance 2024-006, granting an encroachment to State Capitol Hotel LLC for the use of the right-of-way areas of the 1200 block of Main Street and the 1200 block of Gervais Street for the installation and maintenance of a ramp and stairs and the replacement of current railings adjacent to 1200 Main Street.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Item 25, an event resolution, resolution number R 2024-028, authorizing consumption of beer, wine, and liquor at Taste of Black Columbia in the 1100 block of Hampton Street between Assembly Street and Main Street on Friday, May 17th, 2024.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Looking forward to this event. I know this is one, it has grown out of Black Expo and has gotten so big that it's going to be housed down on our streets downtown, so that's very exciting. With that, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
And Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Moving into a period of appointments, item 26, the Climate Protection Action Committee, as well as the Columbia Town and Gown Council and the Hospitality Tax Advisory Committee will all be appointments for your consideration, and Ms. Ashley Jenkins Wood can assist.
Yeah, I think so. Will, you want to make a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for the Climate Protection Action Committee to accept the appointment of the 4 applications, Ms. Julie Seal, Ms. Josie Klein, Ms. Joyce Rose Harris, and Mr. Benjamin Marcides.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for the Columbia Town and Gown Council, to fill the hospitality seat with Mr. Andrew Thompson. The residential appointees, Mr. Michael Anselmo, Mr. Robbie Thompson, Dr. Bambi Gaddis, and Mr. Chris Harris. I would also make the motion that we appoint a USC rep, Mr. Kyle Brantley.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion around the town and gown? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's keep going.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Hospitality Tax Advisory Committee.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to appoint for the hospitality seat on H-Tax, Ms. Amy Beth Franks.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is that the only appointment?
It's the only appointment. That's the only
Yeah,
appointment
I was just going to ask if that was the only appointment.
for the hospitality seat.
Okay, and that's Amy Beth?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We got a motion and a second, Madam Clerk. Read the roll.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
I know there was another item regarding hospitality tax. Are you all going to address that at this time?
I think we got it taken care of. It was just making sure that we designate one of our roles as a arts liaison, and that was already discussed and voted upon via committee and brought to council.
Moving into a period of city council committee reports, referrals, and new business. Item 29, council is asked to refer the Fighting Hate on Main Street Municipal Toolkit to the Public Safety Committee for review, as requested by the Honorable Daniel J. Rickaman, Mayor.
Yes. As you know, I sent to our legal team and sent to the Public Safety Committee and looked to have it put on the agenda, the municipal toolkit to enhance fighting hate crime. And this enhances some of the existing ordinances that we have, but also addresses things like flyers and other things that are being used to intimidate and to create hate that we've seen in other communities. A lot of communities are adopting this, and I think in today's time, we want to make sure that we have every tool kit in our pocket to combat fighting any hate crime that is out there in our community. So I would like to refer this to the Public Safety Committee, if you'll accept it, Mr. Brennan.
Yes, I move.
We got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye. Yes. You Go ahead, Reverend McDowell.
I have several referrals that I'd like to have referred to the Administrative Policy Committee. Some of these items we've discussed but have not fully acted upon. That was the renaming of the Leroy Moss Park, a building there. That's in Hyde Park, right?
Yep.
We need to close that chapter. The Joe Azar Foundation, they're looking at the T.S. Martin as a memorial park in memory of Joe Azar. We have the Sarah Nance Resource Center at the Belfield Center that is up and running and has been up and running for the last 18 months. 2 years, 18, I want to say 18 months. The whole issue of proclamations and keys to the city, there needs to be some conversation about how that happens and the protocol that is needed for those two items to take place. The Virginia Belfield Room Center at Earlwood
Virginia
Park.
Bedford.
Bedford, I'm sorry. Virginia Belfield.
Bedford.
Virginia Belfield, I'm just sorry. Virginia yeah.
Bedford.
That we refer that, this comes from Councilwoman Herbert. If we could refer those items to the Administrative Policy Committee to bring closure to some of those areas that we've already discussed, and that we do that, and we start that process at the end of the month.
Can I just clarify one item I wasn't clear on Sarah Nance Belfield Center? What were we trying to do there?
Try to rename.
Rename it? Okay,
Rename.
so part of the renaming. Thank you, I'm sorry.
It's a resource center.
Yeah,
It's a resource center, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the Belfield Resource Center, and we'd like to really rename it the
Sarah Nance.
Sarah Nance. So I bring this to you all tonight. At the end of the month, we will act on that, hopefully.
Okay.
So the Catherine Belfield Center will remain the
It's the
same
same.
for clarification.
Getting ready to
Yes,
say,
sir.
I can hear Miss Belfield
Absolutely. I
looking
want
down
to
from the
make
sky
sure
right
we
now.
are clear on that,
You don't
yes.
want her only to look down, but to also spank each of us.
Exactly.
Let's do
But
that.
the
Spent a lot of time in that living room getting scolded.
The new resource center, Mayor and Council.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I move that, Mr. Mayor.
We got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions, concerns, clarifications? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Bailey?
Moving to item 31, where I'm asking that council consider the establishment of an ad hoc committee that will provide specific policy recommendations for neighborhoods most impacted by gentrification, investor ownership, and student rentals to promote smart and purposeful growth in order to enhance the quality of life of our communities within these neighborhoods. I'm asking that be referred to community development, and this is really to continue the efforts that we're doing on council to promote growth, to make sure we're taking a look at issues that are affecting the market, and make sure people have a fair shake, essentially, as we continue to grow, looking at smart, purposeful investment, and making sure that our neighborhoods are really considered here. I've spoken to my colleagues on it, spoke a lot with Councilman Brown. We were talking about missing middle housing, which he'll probably chime in on, but as we bring more housing to Columbia, I think it's important that we take a look at these issues while we're doing that.
And Mr. Brown?
Yes, I'd like to make a couple comments. And I think this is a super important time for Columbia. When I ran for office, I often said to groups, we have to be able to improve our quality of life without destroying our quality of life. And I think that's one of the issues that we want to address. But we have to grow and develop. Columbia is a great place to live. It can be better, and we can't be afraid to develop as a community. But part of that development is to work together and to grow strategically and purposefully. And a lot of this is to build a level of trust in our community with the city. And I think that's one of the things we want to be able to do. The missing middle market housing study, which was presented to the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee last week, is going to be an amazing roadmap for growth in Columbia. And we have to be able to follow a process to look at all the areas in Columbia, parking lots, empty lots, neighborhoods that have traditionally been left behind in Columbia without any development. And we've got to come up with a process to look at how we are going to grow Columbia from the inside out and how we're going to really develop Columbia into the greatest place that it should be. So, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Reverend McDowell.
that's one of the things that the mayor and I have vehemently discussed, and that is gridding out in our city those pieces of property. We got more land than we got houses.
Amen.
And it is very extremely important that we look at this city as, and grid it out, bring folk in to do that, and to find out where those lots, those available lots and pieces of property are available for houses. I think that's the way we're going to get at the housing issue in Columbia.
And
Ms. Herbert?
And I just wanted to add, we've been discussing it with legal and community development, but we're looking at the proper restrictive covenant dealing with any properties, residential properties that we own, because there are different avenues that we can use to make sure that we protect communities from gentrification, and we hope to bring that back at the appropriate time.
I want to add, and I want to thank Councilman Bailey. We've been discussing this, and creating an ad hoc committee is a good step forward. We also want to make sure that people understand that we're not going backwards. We're going forwards. We're not going to create restrictions that we're eliminating people out and creating an opportunity. I don't want anybody to think, because some people have thought when they first heard we were talking about this, that we were stepping back into redlining or something. Folks, no. We're talking about working with communities to enhance, but we've got overrun or overpowered by one product or another. We need to have mixed income, mixed communities with the housing needs that reflect our community today. And that means everything from townhomes to single-family homes. But it's important because we've got an aging population. Things are changing. We have different housing needs than we did 20 years ago. But what Reverend McDowell said is very true, is we rode around in about every neighborhood in this community, and I was so surprised at how many empty lots we have. So understanding who owns those, how do we work with them to put families and individuals and seniors back in neighborhoods and make sure that people get to stay in their neighborhood, that they get to choose to stay there by having a variety of products there that are affordable. Some of it may be higher density where we have smaller units on bigger lots. It may be a mix of townhomes. There may be a quadruplex. There may be a duplex. We have to look and see what's appropriate, where it's appropriate, but working together as a community and using some of those existing plans that we already have out there. But our housing changes of need, but riding around, what made us realize is that we've got opportunities. We can solve our housing crisis. Those 16,000 units that we need over the next decade across every line, we have the ability to address it. And so we're going to leverage our ability, our community development office, our CBG money, possibly, who knows, Section 108, use what we can to make a difference. And we're doing it with our land as well. But we're all going to be reaching out. Ms. Herbert has had several sessions with our faith community who own a lot of land too. How can we better utilize that to solve the housing crisis? How do we make sure that everybody who wants a safe place to live has it in Columbia? and we have to do that together. So I appreciate you bringing this forth. I look forward to the structure of the committee and the input across the community. With that, Madam Clerk, can
Is there a
we?
second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Will you read the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles? Aye. Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you. And Mayor, I did
Yep.
want to announce that you have asked me when was the next meeting. So we will have our next meeting with the churches on June 26th. And
Be here,
it'll be here, yes, sir.
Busby Street.
We'll give it
June, what is that date?
June 26th. I will make sure that you all send it, you all get the
Calendar invite.
calendar invite.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, one final referral for me, which is to public safety, considering using, in the alternative of police pursuits, considering using technology. As most people know, we had a tragedy here recently, which kind of brought a lot more attention on police pursuits, which is something that is common across South Carolina. And our officers really are working hard, and sometimes they're in tight spots, and sometimes you do have to pursue suspects. But if you can have technology that could take that factor out, where we're able to apprehend suspects while protecting the public and our officers, pursuing them, I think is something that we should consider. And so I'm asking to public safety specifically to look into Star Chase technology, which is a GPS mounter that's launched from a police vehicle in the event when there's pursuit. So we can look at also the grappler, which is another piece of technology. I'd like to consider that public safety, look into testing the equipment, figuring out what the cost would be associated with updating our fleet, and then before putting it on the road, having a pilot program to see if it's really effective and can make things better for our officers.
Can I amend your motion to add, since the technology, that we continue our pursuit for red light cameras and speed cameras for our neighborhoods? I know there's some efforts with municipal governments to come together and maybe put some funding about it, really to push a legislative effort at the state level to really change that and give us the tools to use the technology to help in this instant. A lot of communities are doing is preventing a lot of accidents. It's also putting opportunities to slow down school zones and high speed in neighborhoods, and I'd like to add that to that.
Definitely.
So move.
We got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Yes, Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles? Aye. Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ms. Herbert?
And I just wanted to add, well, a request to Chief that when we get into that discussion, if you can have some data so that we can know how we have performed with regards to the high-speed pursuits, so that we can kind of know what direction we need to go in. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Some of that data is available already. I've seen some of it.
And I'm
The high speed
going to
or-
get him to bring it all the way to us so I can read it.
If we could centralize that and bring it all into play, that would certainly help. And getting it where we are able to see and to sense what's going on with the different areas and that sort of thing. Some of that data we already have, and be glad to share that with you. Now, that's going to public safety?
Yes, Councilman McDowell, and I just wanted to say, tentatively set for the reschedule for Tuesday, May 21st at 11 a.m. for that meeting,
It'll be May 21st at 11 at City Hall. Correct.
City Hall. What is it?
I did want to take a moment before we move to public input to remind folks that the Columbia Police and the Columbia Parks Foundations will continue their tradition of honoring Bicycle Safety Week month for their third annual Police, Parks, and Pedals events next Saturday, May 18th. It'll be at Rosewood Park with our number one police chief, our District 3 council member and Mayor Pro Tem, Will Brennan, along with our ACM of our parks, Henry Simons, to recognize 30 Richland School District 1 elementary and middle school students with brand-new bikes and helmets. This is the third year of this event that brings our city police and parks and recs with our local community and our Richland 1 leaders. So I hope to see y'all all there at Rosewood Park on the 12th at 10 a.m. 18th, yeah, 18th, say 12th. And with that, Madam Clerk, we have public input.
Yes, sir. We have one individual signed up to speak. It's Mr. John Kringle. As he come forward, we will remind Mr. Kringle that the time allocation is 3 minutes.
I like that. Now let's just make sure we get ours.
Members of the Columbia City Council, my name is John Kringle. I'm an attorney and I have been living in Columbia for 61 years. I contacted Councilman Bailey about concern I have about the number of people that have been injured and killed in law enforcement related pursuits. The Greenville News on May 12, 2020 reported that 113 people had been killed in South Carolina in the period from 2009 until 2018. I have had two former students, law enforcement people that were killed. One of them was Leo Dantzler, and a game warden, killed in 1991, and more recently in 2015, Stacy Case was killed on a call when she collided with a University of South Carolina police officer. A lot of times the collisions involve a pursued party, sometimes the pursuing officer, but often innocent third parties get caught in the middle of these things. And we don't have to live in the era of Smokey and the Bandit where Jackie Gleason is chasing Burt Reynolds around in South Georgia. Modern technology exists, drones exist, GPS exists, Star Chase exists. These are technologies that can be used to avoid these high-speed, dangerous chases. Chicago, Cook County put in an arrangement recently where motorists can register their vehicles with law enforcement and give law enforcement the authorization to use the global positioning system on the car if it's stolen. They have had 9,500 motorists register and grant authorization, and they have had 3 stolen cars among those 9,500 motorists. They put a sign on the car that indicates that it's registered for law enforcement, and this allows law enforcement to monitor a stolen vehicle wherever it goes. We have made a lot of progress in Columbia in the time I've been here, 61 years. It's a very different and a much better city than it was when I came here. But we still have the opportunity to do better, and I think we need to do something about these law enforcement pursuits to protect the public, protect the officers, and even protect the pursued people, because oftentimes they're teenagers. They had an incident in Florida last week where a highway patrolman pitted a stolen SUV with teenagers in it and killed all 4 of them. And I don't think any of us want that sort of thing to happen in the city of Columbia. I'd be glad to respond to any questions that the council might have.
Any questions? Comments, Mr. Bailey?
No question, but I would like just to thank you, Mr. Kringle, for your work in this space, because I think it's going to help people. Just the advocacy that you've taken so far in this approach, and I think that Columbia really has an opportunity to lead in South Carolina in implementing some of this technology that, like you said, will protect not only our officers and the public, but also the suspects. So we don't have situations that are very common throughout the state.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for receipt of legal advice relating to matters covered by attorney-client privilege pursuant to SC Code 30-4-70A2 Per and Poly substances, PFAS, and discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements pursuant to SC Code 30-4-70, A2, DMH surplus property.
You got a motion, is there a second? Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown? Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles? Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, council.